This battery will cost you $440, which puts it at the lower end compared to other batteries its size. This is what the battery came in. The foam is a little bit smaller than a 100 amp variants, but there was no damage to the battery itself. These are the dimensions and its weight. Here's a size comparison to a 100 amp hour battery from Humsienk. This one is more than triple the capacity and is only slightly larger. So I charged the battery to run a capacity test at 0.2C, and I got a capacity of 4191 watt hours or 327 amp hours. That's great for a 314 amp hour battery. That's about 4% over its rated capacity. So I thought I could squeeze out even more by charging it and letting it balance. But that's where I found a serious problem. The BMS is supposed to start balancing when the cell voltage goes above 3.45 volts and the difference between the cells is greater than 30 millivolts. That's normal behavior for a BMS, but this one wasn't balancing, even though the voltage was high enough and I was seeing a difference of 200 millivolts between the cells. So I ran some tests and found out that this BMS only balances when the battery is getting charged. I even left the battery in absorption for 3 days and there was zero movement in cell voltages. Let me show you what happens. The BMS should be balancing at this moment because the cell is over 3.45 volts and we have more than 30 millivolts of spread between the cells. It's even 141 millivolts. So now it's not balancing. And when I apply a 1 amp current, it will start balancing. As you can see. And when I remove this lead, it will stop balancing. So that's a big problem. The only time where balancing can happen is during the charge phase between 3.45 volts and 3.65 volts. And with a 20 amp charger, that window lasts about 5 minutes. You can let it charge at 1 amps, but that would take a long time and is not a practical solution. I checked the 100 amp hour version and that one does balance without an active charge. So the issue appears to be specific to this battery. I will reach out to the company for their response. Hopefully this is something they can fix with a firmware update. We're off to a bad start, but let's continue with the review. Some people have suggested that I include the internal resistance of the battery, so I measured it and I got 2.29 milliohms. That falls within spec. I have added another battery in parallel and connected to an inverter with a small 20 amp load. I will check if this battery is sharing the current, because that was a problem with smart batteries. The total current draw is 22.5 amps and the Humsienk is delivering 13.7 amps. So this battery is sharing the current correctly. First impressions, everything looks very clean and it's a nice build quality so far. I like that they have the BMS on the side instead of on top. Let's remove the cables from the terminals and look into further detail. I just removed the top of the battery. The leads were glued down, but I only saw a washer, no spring washer. I think it would be better to have a spring washer included as well. And then there was these insulation caps over the bolts. What I also observed is that they're an overpressure relief, but it's blocked by a block of foam. These are the negative cables going to the BMS, and here is the foam block, and when I remove the foam block, you see the pressure relief. So it's better if they move this a little bit more to the right, because now it's blocked by this foam. I just removed the battery cells from the case, and I can see they're using a metal plate at this end and at this end with the straps. But what I could also observe is that the metal end plate here is not even with the bottom, but on this side it is even with the bottom. So here the battery cells are touching the bottom of the case, but here they are not. This is how the BMS is mounted on the battery. It's mounted on these metal plates with glue. The glue is very strong, so the BMS is not coming off. It's also held in by these foam blocks, but I don't like these foam blocks pressing down on the heatsink of the BMS. The heatsink is there to dissipate the heat, but these foam blocks work as an insulator. The cables are very tight and they are crimped, so that's good to see. And the balance leads and the temperature wires are also glued down. Let's do a high current temperature test of the battery. I have added the inverter and I will add a 150 amp load for 15 minutes. I have also added black tape to increase the accuracy of the infrared camera. And we are 15 minutes later. The BMS has a temperature of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. There's no obvious hotspots. The cable I'm using here is a bit undersized, so that's why it's the hottest point in the test setup. But all other cables and the BMS, the temperature looks good. What I would like to see improved is the cable length. These cables are not the same length, and this one is a bit tight. This one is longer than this one. For it, we have a total current of 166 amps, and this wire is contributing 62 amps. The second wire 55 amps, and this wire 50 amps, for a total of 164 amps. These are 7 gauge wires and they're silicone, so they can handle 100 amps. So this is fine, but I would like to see them having the same length. Overall, I like the build quality of the battery. We have the main positive running down this channel, and the pressure relief valves are still free and they're able to vent. The balance wires are screwed down and held with glue as well. And then here we have the temperature sensor on the top of the cell with glue. And I even think the back of the BMS PCB has some aluminium heatsink, but I'll talk about the BMS later. Let's do the charging low temperature protection. We are now charging at 5 amps and the temperature is 24 degrees. And the charging stopped, so that's good. Let's now recover and do the high temperature charging protection. We're back at charging with 5 amps. And that triggered as well, so that's good. Let's now do the discharge temperature protection tests. Now I've added an inverter and we will run the discharge temperature test, starting with low temperature. and the discharging stopped, so that's good. Let's now recover. We are back on, and let's now do the high temperature test. And that's working as well. So let's now do a high temperature test, not on the temperature sensor, but on the MOSFET, and see at which temperature it triggers. And the inverter is back on. And let's just heat the BMS heatsink. We are over 95 degrees Celsius. (100 degrees Celsius). And the plastic is starting to melt. So it finally shut down at 120 degrees Celsius. That's really bad. I will open up the BMS and see if there's an actual temperature sensor inside or not. But normally the BMS should trigger at 95 degrees Celsius, and that would be the highest temperature, not 120 degrees Celsius. That's really disappointing. I removed the BMS from the battery, and this fiberboard is glued to the metal sheet very strong, so I couldn't remove the fiberboard. And indeed, we saw a metal backsheet as a heatsink, which is nice to see. Then I removed the screws of this heatsink so we can open it. And here we have many MOSFETs for the 200 amp rating of the BMS. And then at the top we have the resistors for the passive balancing. And they're labeled as 151 or 150 ohms. And there are 8 of them. So I suspect 2 of them are in parallel per cell. And if we calculate the balancing current, so we have 2 150 ohm resistors in parallel, that means an equivalent resistance of 75 ohms. With the balance start voltage of 3.45 volts, we become a balance current of 45 milliamps. That's very low. So imagine the battery has an imbalance of 1%, that's 3 amp hours. We divide it by the balancing current, and it would take 65 hours to get rid of the balance. That's a very long time. So I looked for some serial numbers on the BMS itself, but I couldn't find anything. So I suspect it's a private label BMS where Humsienk put their logo on. So we are 2 days later, and I forgot to tell you about the cells. I scanned them, and they are from Cornex. It's a tier 2 brand. It's not a red flag, but not a tier 1 brand like EVE, CATL, BYD or Goshen. The production date is August 2025, so about 9 months old. Anything under 1 year is good. And the company responded. Their engineer tested and confirmed the problem. They admitted the mistake. which is refreshing to see from a manufacturer. Let me know in the comments if you have this battery and whether you're seeing the same problem. They also told me it's not possible to change the BMS settings yourself without programming equipment. So what can you do if you have this battery? First, check whether your battery actually has the problem. Not every unit may be affected. Test whether it balances without an active charge. Remember that cell voltages need to be above 3.45 volts and the difference between the cells must be at least 30 millivolts before the balancing starts. The easiest solution is to leave it like this, but know that the capacity will reduce in the coming years. The battery is still safe to operate. Be careful if you wire this battery with other batteries in series. If the cell high voltage is reached, the whole series string will be without power because the BMS in this battery will shut down. And an external balancer does not help this situation. And in parallel, other batteries will have to take up the extra current if the BMS in this battery shuts down. Here's what you can do about it without opening up the battery. Discharge the battery until your highest cell drops to 3.45 volts. That puts you at the bottom of the balance window. Then connect a bench power supply or an MPPT and limit it to 1 amp of charging current. The BMS will balance during that charge phase. If the imbalance is large, you need to repeat the cycle more than once. And I tested this, where I charged the cell from 3.45 volts to 3.65 volts with 1 amps, and it takes 1 hour and a half. And if the imbalance is 1% or 3 amp hours, it will take 40 of these cycles, with each cycle getting shorter and shorter. If that doesn't resolve it and you're comfortable opening up the battery, you can do the balancing manually. But do wear safety glasses when you open up the battery. A short can be made very quickly and you don't want that in your eyes. And the safest approach to balance the battery is to drain the high cell down to match the other cells. And you can do it with a tester like this one. I prefer discharging instead of charging because you are bypassing the BMS protections. To wrap up, a battery is only as good as its BMS. You can have the best cells in the world, but if the BMS isn't programmed correctly, it undermines the whole battery. Some people asked me to make a list of my recommended batteries. I have done so and it can be found on my website. It's still a work in progress and I will link it in the video description. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one.